Hey guys, it's Mel. We're going to attempt to make this card and I'm going to jump right into it because I know this is going to be a part 2 at least or part 3 video. What we're going to concentrate on first is making these little reindeer, and if we can get through that, then the next part might be the card construction. So I'm going to start off with what you need, and you're going to need 7 different colors of cardstock, but most of them are literally scrap pieces. So check your scraps. You probably most likely will be able to use that. The biggest piece that you're going to need is probably this craft one, because you're going to need to punch out. We need 4 of the L punches punched out, because you're going to need one for the head and one for the body for Clarice, and one for the head and one for the body for Rudolph. We're going to call them Clarice and Rudolph so we can differentiate. And then the only other thing you're going to need is just 2 of these, because we're going to cut them in half, so there'll be 2 eyelids for one, 2 eyelids for the other. The rest of the pieces you can save for another project. And then you're going to need a tiny scrap of white, a tiny scrap of the bright red, which is going to be their noses and the little heart. So brighter red than your dark red base cards, the card base. And you need a tiny piece of brown, literally just to cut out 1 snowflake. I'll do both their antlers. And then a tiny piece of black that you're going to need to cut out the little hooves, we'll call them, hooves, however you say it. So that's it for the cardstock. Oh, and you need a tiny little piece of green just for that. So literally scraps, you guys. So after you use your owl punch, and this is the main punch you're going to need for this. After you do your owl punch, you're going to punch that out 4 times. And like I said, we need 4 of these and 2 of these. So once you get that, however way you want to do it, I just punched out the whole thing because that made it easier. So once you do that, you're going to end up with a piece that looks like this. So first we're going to do Clarice, and what you want to do is basically cut these little feet off, because this is how the owl would normally be. So we're going to cut the feet off, and that's going to make the head. So that's going to be your little head. So cut those off, and once you do that, you're going to need to do her body. So you turn the owl like this to where the feet are sticking out here, and you're going to cut the feet off once again. So for the head and the body, cut off all the feet. We don't need these feet. So once those are cut off, so pretend we cut them off. I just fold them back. This is just the extra to show you guys. Then you're going to want to trim off this piece, because this is going to be your tail. So pretend we trim that off. This is just for time's sake. So now you have her body. So once you have those 2 pieces, you're going to have something that looks like this, and I already attached this here. But basically, before you attach them, you want to use your brown ink and just kind of go around and just add some depth. And I didn't do as much for Clarice as I did for Rudolph. I did Rudolph a little darker because that's how they are. And I say in real life, but you know, in the movie. So you can do it however you like. If you want them both to be dark, that's fine. However you want to do it. So then now we basically constructed the body. So you just use your little glue, and I just used Tombow Mono adhesive, and I attached the head to the body. So now we have the body constructed. The next thing you're going to need to do, and this is what one piece you're going to have to do by hand, is basically cut a skinny strip. This one's an extra because as you see, it's not even, but just cut a skinny strip. You can even use a paper trimmer so you get a straight cut. That's going to act as the legs. Now I don't measure, so I can't give you measurements, but I basically did longer strips for him for his legs and a little shorter for her, just to make the man versus the woman on there, and you can again adjust that however you would like to do it. So I basically, all I did is just kind of eyeballed it. So you cut the first one that you think you know the length you want it. And once you cut that, I just held that piece up to this strip here and just lined it up that way and just continued down the line to cut out 4 pieces. But you're technically going to need 8 once you get to Rudolph, and we're just going to repeat the process, but we're going to have him facing that way so their heads are facing each other. So once you do that, once you get your legs, you want to again take your little inking tool, and I just used the Martha Stewart, the brown from this Martha Stewart set, but you don't have to have Martha Stewart. Any type of brown ink's fine, of your preference. And I just went around, all the way around all 4 legs and inked them around. Now you're not going to see the one end. Actually, you're not going to see both ends really, so you don't have to concentrate on them too bad, because the hoof is going to go on this part, and this part's going to kind of be hidden behind it with the glue. So once you have, I'm going to turn her down like this. Once you have her down, you're going to want to attach your legs. So they don't have to be any type of certain way. So what you could probably do is lay all your legs that you chose. Whoops, I have a short one here. So lay your legs that you chose, and hopefully this one doesn't end up being too short. But you just kind of lay them like that, and maybe scooch them together, and kind of just lay them on top before gluing them and see how they look. So some of them I kind of like make them like they're a little more realistic. Let me get you down a little bit better. There we go. You make them like they're a little more realistic, and you know that she's actually standing. So because this glue kind of gives you some time to dry, I just put some little dabs on each end, and then I just kind of work with them that way. So let's kind of like layer this back one like this. So just kind of make them meet like that, and then you can put her down here, and you can always trim the ends of it. So you can trim the ends that you use. So now let's put her front leg on, and let's do this one. So these are definitely going to need to be trimmed. So now they're on her, we can see. So you just kind of basically do this, and if you don't like the way they're facing, or if they, you know, you can always trim them. So I'm going to trim these so that they're all even. So let's just do it quick. And if you haven't heard me say, I definitely do not measure. So if you guys are more comfortable measuring so that they're all even, you can do so. Okay, so that's pretty basic. So you want to leave some room, and then what you want to do is now take your black cardstock and punch out 4, I just use these hearts. If you have a different heart you'd rather use, so you don't have to just do, and I just stuck my paper in just so it only went here. So you need 4 for her, and you're going to need 4 for Rudolph. So go ahead and punch out 8 of these out of black cardstock. So once you have that, you want to get your, and you don't have to have this tool, but I use this. This is called the Pick Me Up, and it just basically has a sticky end on the end of it that you can kind of mold. It kind of reminds you of silly putty, and you just use that to pick up your tiny little items. So what we're going to do is now, let me see if I can zoom in on what we're doing here. Move her down. Okay, so what we're going to do is basically put a tiny dab of glue, and then we'll just work with that on the bottom of each foot. Let me move this stuff out of the way, our snippings. So then I want to take my quick stick tool, and let me put this where you can see it, and you're going to turn the heart upside down, see that? And then you're going to pick up, if you have one of these, if not, you know, just going to work with your hands. And then just basically line it up so you don't really see the underneath of the, you know, the foot. So that came out good. So then you're going to repeat the same thing. Make sure you turn your heart upside down and put them each on all 4 legs. Some of them will be seen, some might be, you know, because I kind of have on my card, I kind of have where they're intertwined, so they're kind of hugging each other. So Clarice is hugging Rudolph. So, but you want to just have them all done that way, just in case if some are showing, you don't want some looking, you know, like they are done and some aren't. So there we have our legs. So once we have that completed, we can, let's give her some eyes so she's not so scary looking. So what you basically want to do next is with your white cardstock, I want to show you where you need it. What is it? This one, right? Yep. With your white cardstock, you're going to punch out 2 of these. So again, you don't have to put your white through everything, because we don't need white of every shape, just these 2 larger eyes. Because as you see, there's the medium eyes, and then there's 2 tiny dots for the teeny tiny ones. So we need 2 of these in white right now, and then you're also going to need 2 more for Rudolph. So if you want to go ahead and do 4 white of that larger one, go ahead and do that. So once you have your white, here's what they're going to look like. Whoops. Okay, so here's the white. So let's go ahead and glue, let's do 2 glue spots. So here's 1, 2. And what's good about this is it doesn't dry quick, so you can kind of do this now and then just kind of work with where you want your placement. So let's do our 2 glues. Okay, so they look funny now, but they'll come cuter, I promise. Okay, so then what you're going to want to do is, again with your glue, take it and just do 2 more dabs down at the lower part of the eyeballs. Okay, take your tool if you have one. If not, just, you know, do this carefully with your fingers, and then press that down. And this is the, with the black, you're going to need, let me show you. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. With the black cardstock, you're going to need, so what I recommend for this video is watch it once and then, you know, go with it, because I'm going as you guys go. So you're going to need 2 of these in black for Clarice and 2 for Rudolph. So if you want to go ahead and punch 4 of the black cardstock in these, you can go ahead and do so. So right now we're constructing the eyes. Okay, so now once we have that, she's starting to come together. What you want to take next is one of the tan larger ones that are the same size as the white, and you're basically going to want to cut this in half. But before you do that, it might be smarter if here we are, it just kind of ink all the way around the edge before we cut it in half. So ink all the way around the circle just to kind of make it match with the rest of her. So now we have that inked. I don't know if you guys can see that, and we're going to cut this in half. Whoops. And just kind of keep an eye on where your pieces fly. Okay, so now we have our 2 halves, and I have pattern paper on the back of this. Okay, so once you have that, you're going to want to dab a little bit of glue here, just on the top of the white. Can you guys see where I put that? And then we're going to take one of the eyelids and just kind of place it right over her eye. Do the same thing with grab the other half and place it right over her other eye. So we basically have the eye, and we're going to end this here and start with a part 2. So this is probably going to be quite a few parts. So stay tuned for the next one.